What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Tommy and Fuego here.
Marsha Parker.
And we're back to finish the review that we promised last week. Actually, we reviewed the pilot of Santa Clarita Diet on Netflix, and this week we're going to do as we promised. We all finished the series, and we're going to go ahead and do a full series review that's going to be spoilerific.
Spoilers!
So if you guys haven't seen it yet, you might not want to watch it all. Suffice it to say that I think you guys should just quickly... The most non-spoiler we can get is I think you guys should watch it if you like sitcoms or you like horror. I think you're gonna not be wasting your time with this. Fuego?
And it's short episodes. It's only like 20-something minutes, only 10 for the season, so you can find out pretty quickly and if you think it sucks or if it's entertaining. I was entertained. It didn't blow me away, but I had fun with it. Marsha, what about you?
I think it's good to have in the background while you're doing other things.
All right, well,
there you go.
Take that for what it's worth. But let's go ahead and get into it, you guys. So the overall story, we already know that Drew Barrymore plays a housewife that essentially turns zombie in the first episode, but not your typical zombie, not like ravenous, but she begins to be driven by her id, and the creepy sort of neighbor kid ends up being the one with all of the knowledge about this particular issue.
Yep.
And then the season sort of develops, and we start to find out a little bit of why Drew Barrymore became a zombie. A little bit, not much.
Tiny bit.
Yeah. And some, new characters are introduced all along the way, but essentially it is a sitcom, a horror sitcom, or a sitcom with horror elements or tendencies. And that's sort of, if you don't like sitcoms, I don't think you'll like this series.
No.
I enjoy sitcoms.
See, and so we all kind of enjoyed it, but she didn't enjoy it as much as us.
Yeah.
I enjoy sitcoms and I enjoy horror, so it was a sort of natural, unnatural melding of two different genres that I thought kind of worked pretty well. Except I wasn't the hugest fan of Drew Barrymore through the whole thing.
Not even at the end.
She was better at the end.
I understand and tolerate and stuff as time went by.
She got more tolerable as we went along, yes. But
I thought she did a great job. I thought all the actors and actresses did a great job in this.
I was the biggest fan of the kids. I like the kids and Timothy Olyphant the most.
Well, they're fantastic.
He actually was really good in trying to just be a supportive husband, if a little bit too supportive at times. I feel like he should have waffled maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, and if we're going to go into the story a little bit, I can say that was one of the things that I found amusing, but, could have done a little bit better, was the way he slowly became acclimated and accepting to what they had to do, because I think the second episode was called, "We Can't Kill People," and then the third one was, "We Can Kill People," and just how they grow to accept this as the new normality for their family and stuff. Story-wise, there was some high points, and as far as character interaction, I thought performances were good. I'm sure we'll get into that at some point. But the story, the warring neighbors and stuff, and how the sheriff and the cop were butting heads. Like, most of the supporting players I did not like. Now, the main four people I thought all did a great job. The two kids and Drew and Timothy, I thought did a killer job. But everybody else, the supporting cast, Charlie Day's wife, who you've seen on It's Sunny in Philadelphia, after, spoilers, her husband gets eaten by Drew Barrymore, which is what I thought was kind of funny. Timothy Olyphant kills him, and that's because he's sniffing around. The whole time they're trying to cover their tracks as they're killing people, and, Olyphant wants to help his wifey, but...
well, not only that,
it's
but
a grown chore.
The cop found out, and the cop was basically holding it over him.
Oh, yeah.
And saying, "You gotta kill who I want you to kill."
I love that part. I'm
Really?
sorry.
Okay, so there was something you liked.
I thought that was hilarious that they went there, that they're like, okay, my favorite thing about that guy, because he was super annoying.
Dan the neighbor.
He's a
was
dick, yeah.
So,
you find a finger, right?
It was writing and whatever. But he was annoying. He was meant to be annoying. You're supposed to hate him. But I love how he goes over to, just like, walks into his yard, not invited, like, complete opposite of what a cop should be doing, and walking into his house, and he's just like, "Dude, that's not cool." And he's like, "Oh, but we want to be friends." Like, I love the whole thing. It's like, I don't have any friends, but you're gonna be my friend.
But then we find out he's a dirty cop.
Yeah.
And it kind of helps
Well,
him
we
cover
knew he
the
was
tracks.
a dirty cop as soon as he started asking him to kill people for him.
True.
Yeah.
And that's how we get to Drew Barrymore actually turning somebody else into another, whatever you would classify them as, slow occurring zombie. Because
that actually took an interesting turn later in the series. I thought
it was one of the drug dealers.
So the first person that the cop sort of blackmails them into killing, or blackmails Timothy Olyphant into quote unquote killing.
Oh, I forgot about this.
is this killer bad guy, this murdering
drug
dealing huge black guy that essentially they try and take down. But are unsuccessful. But she gets a bite in on him, and he ends up turning. And we don't see him for a little while. But then when he finally resurfaces, it's in a really funny way because they get word that he's hanging out at this club, and they go to check it out, and he's this sort of like really soft, almost effeminate, character now that's singing a song and like. Yeah, he was
way hard when you see him earlier on.
Yeah,
he was
so
thugged out.
It was super funny, this dichotomy that he played, but then, he had to swing back at one point for purposes of the story. And
because he's in love with Drew Barrymore, which was kind of funny.
Yeah,
it's like, we should be together.
Yeah, because they were the only two zombies. So this all goes to say that the story took interesting turns along the way, I have to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it started off with like, okay, how is it going to be a suburban housewife that's now a zombie? And they sort of moved past that pretty quick, which is good because I think if they had focused too long on it, it might have become too perhaps trite or predictable or something. But it stayed relatively unpredictable the whole time. I didn't expect Nathan Fillion to get killed in the first episode.
Which was hilarious.
I didn't expect, the Dan to get killed. I thought when he got hit with the shovel, he was just knocked out.
I did too. I didn't think they were going to end up
chowing on him. But no, they chowed on him, and then she tried to devour all of him.
Wasn't
it
funny? He was all hairy, and they started shaving because she
eating
the hair.
Choking on the hair and coughing up hairballs. It was gross, but it was as though it was a sitcom in a horror world.
Can I talk about the one moment that stuck out?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, the last time we met together, it was her munching on the finger.
Mm-hmm.
Crunch.
And I verbally, at this part, was like just, oh my god, I can't believe I'm watching this. And it was when her toe falls off.
Yes, that was what I wanted to mention, is how she did start to...
Let me finish. So her toe falls off, so she's trying to figure out how to put it back on. She starts sewing in. She's like, this isn't working. The string keeps, because it's just decayed so much. So the string just falls off. It's not working. So she's like, oh, I know. I'll take this nail and I'll drive it down the toe. Oh my gosh. I was verbally just oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And she just hits the hammer, the nail going through her toe, and then it splits open.
Yeah.
I couldn't contain myself. I was like, I can't believe this is happening right now. And then he was because I was in my office and he was standing here. I was like, did you just see that? And he goes, no, because he had walked away and heard me yelling and came back and he was like, I missed it. I'm like, do you want to see this? He's like, no, I haven't got to this part yet. I'm going to watch it later. I'm like, oh my god.
And it got worse. Eyeball. Boom. She's like, honey, help me put my eyeball back in.
That part I'm okay with, but the toe.
The toe
was way
much.
grosser.
Yeah, the toe
not
was
so
rough.
much. That was it. I was like,
so
okay.
she starts to decay, and that becomes sort of a problem, obviously, because they sort of quickly acclimate to the whole zombie thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then while Timothy Olyphant gets sort of hope that there might be a cure, at the same time we find out that Drew Barrymore is starting to decay.
Yeah.
So that adds a new layer of drama at a certain point in the series. So again, going back to the story, I think this proves that the pacing was interesting and well done, because it drove the story along the way, and it was natural. It never felt like it dragged for me. I was always surprised, every couple episodes I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah,
and I wanted to see where it went.
And any moment they were starting to lose me, they would do something weird and twisted that I wasn't expecting, and I'm like, okay, I'm still in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it was good background noise for the most part for me, because most of it I was just like, okay, whatever. And then there would be the moments that I'd be like, oh, okay, that was actually interesting. And then I would keep doing what I was doing. And then an hour later, something interesting would happen again. And so I wouldn't say it was completely horrible, but I just don't think it was something that kept my attention the whole way. It didn't make me want to stop doing other things to watch it. like some of the other things that I've been watching over the years.
Well, in fairness, I did watch it on my iPhone at the base of the screen while I was editing about 12 episodes of the horror show. So
yeah, I'm the only one, I guess, who gave it my full undivided.
Yeah, I did kind of give it a little bit of divided attention, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and I don't think it necessarily needed more than I gave it.
Yeah, I did feel like it lost some steam at the end, though. Like, the last couple episodes, when they tried to bring in the doctor and Eric gets all super whiz-kid scientist with it, it just...
Did a little bit...
And they go to the paranormal convention, and it felt so cliched and so by the books, whereas they took a concept I'd not necessarily seen before and ran with it and did interesting things. I felt like they were falling back on tropes near the end of the first season. Then
I did like that she was sort of the kid's science hero. So like when she would give an explanation, he'd be like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yeah. Well,
and like he'd be the only one that understood why, and she'd be like, "Yes, indeed." You know,
well, then in the parts where Abby was faking like she was dying after they were testing the stuff on her, they kind of beat that dead horse a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, and the doctor sort of reminded me of the Silicon Valley, the people running the corporation in Silicon Valley, both the guy and the girl that takes over for him once the actual actor died at the end of or in the middle of the first season or whatever. That sort of weird Aspergery. Oh yes, okay, yeah. Like it's very matter of fact, but you know, sort of highfalutin and intelligent and stuff like that. I did find that interesting, and I did also want to mention the fact that it ended on a cliffhanger.
It did.
You know,
they're hoping for more, but
so the cops sort of close in on I don't even know what their last name is, but
I can't remember either. But
they close in on Timothy and Drew Barrymore's characters, and essentially Timothy has to take the fall.
I was gonna say it was Joel and goodness, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, either. But anyway, he takes the fall for her. Meanwhile, where does she end up? Is she with the kids, or
he didn't take the fall for her?
Well, he's in prison. He's
in this nut house.
Yeah, right. He's in the nut house, but he's taking the fall. They're accusing him of all the crimes.
She's chained up in the basement because she's about to go feral.
She's about to go feral, right?
She's slowly getting more zombie-like,
and she's on the phone, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that house," and she's like, "Well, maybe we could do it next week. One of us will be free."
I liked it. I liked it. I would. Okay. I think it'll do well enough to warrant more. I hope.
I'm sure that they'll keep it going.
It's different, and I like that.
No. Yeah. So characters. I mean, do you guys want to circle back? Was there anybody else besides the big four that stood out to you, or not so much? I mean.
The only thing I liked about the doctor was when she was Abby dropped the guacamole on the very rare book, and she's like, "I'm starting to wonder if I'll ever unfreeze my eggs." I was like, yeah.
That might be female humor, because that didn't strike home.
I was amused.
You know, like, because she wasn't sure she wouldn't have kids because...
I know, I get it.
Okay.
I get it, I'm just saying.
I was amused by Charlie Day's wife after Dan died, going all lesbo with his partner.
Yeah, totally
I thought that was really funny.
Maybe, I'm thinking that's
she comes all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's who she was having an affair with to begin with.
Fingers.
Yeah.
She might be the first. I think that's who she was having an affair with the whole time.
Maybe
I'm pretty sure they alluded to it quite a bit. So that was funny.
The last thing that I think we should probably touch on is the effects through the whole thing, because again, there was a lot of gore, and we saw some more eating and half of Dan's body in a tub. And you know what I gotta say. I was just gonna say, I gotta shout out the sound design people, because at one point, Joel is in bed, while she is trying to dispose of Dan, and he's just listening to headphones, and he's got music in while looking at a magazine, and he takes them off, and you just hear this, and it's just like, oh god, and he just quickly puts them back on, and they played it for comedy, but they did a really good job, and the sound effects were great, and I thought the visual effects were great, the practical visual effects. I don't remember a lot of CG at all.
The hairball that came out of her mouth.
That was gross. Old school editing grossness.
Yeah, the bloody dark humor reminded me a lot of where they're cutting up the chicken Very Bad Things, the stripper that they kill. That's what it really reminded me a lot of.
Yeah, there's a lot of that sort of feel to it.
Whole scene when they're going through Dan. So
yeah.
Anyway, I enjoyed it overall.
Yeah,
It
it's
doesn't
fun.
sound like Marsha liked it as much as us. I don't even know if Fuego liked it as much as me, but
It didn't blow me away, but I had a lot of fun with it. It was
yeah,
cool.
I think
Yeah.
that's pretty much where I'm at. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're pretty similar on that.
It's
You
worth
know,
watching.
Yeah, if you guys have watched it, if
background.
you've stuck through this entire thing, you probably have, considering it is a spoiler review. If you haven't, and you enjoyed this review, go check it out. It
We
might
didn't
be up your
spoil too
alley.
much.
We didn't spoil too much.
Yeah.
There's still quite a bit to get through, and it's fun to see the characters develop again, especially the kids. In my opinion, I love the kids.
I also liked how they kept nailing home the family, just connection and bonding. How Abby went and bonded with Joel for a little while, where they were like, "Can you believe this is really happening?" And they were having that moment,
Yep.
and then later on, where mom and daughter were reconnecting when they were at the storage shed and all that stuff. So I mean, they did cast well, and performances were good, even if the story would be good and then be just okay, but still keep your interest. So we're checking out, like I said.
I love that moment when Abby shows up to is it Eric's house?
Yes,
And
the neighbor.
she just lays on his
Oh,
bed.
yeah. that
And
was
she
a
like
good one.
starts talking, and the first thing he says is, "Hey." He's still processing that she's in his bed.
Right.
Yeah, lying down
The
there.
the
He's
acting
like,
is so
"Rah!"
great for the kids. I just loved it. So, I had to shout out good acting moments like that, and the effects are really enjoyable. So, if you like horror and you like sitcoms, give it a run. If you have other things to do while you have something on, that might be a good way to do it. Marsha and I both did it that way, and it
It's still
worked well
watchable
for us.
that way, like there's a lot of good one-liners, and then just the visuals will get you, and it's very like random when they appear, and you're just like, wait, what?
But
just
there's
happened?
always either a music or a
There's
vocal
cues.
sting.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone's either reacting or the music lets you know that you should be reacting. So either way, if you're not looking right at the screen, you'll know to run back and just rewind a little bit to catch
there was
something.
a couple times where I was like, oh wait, what did I just miss? So-
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very dialogue driven, and then things occasionally hit where you need to see the blood or the barfing or whatever the hell it is. So,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I think that's going to do it for our season 1 review of the just Santa Clarita Diet. I don't know why I do that every time, but that's starring Drew Barrymore and Timothy Oliphant, brought to us by Netflix. Check it out, you guys, if you haven't yet. If you're fans of this show, you'll probably enjoy it. If you have checked it out, let us know in the comments below, or let us know in the comments below if you want to, after watching this, why did you watch the whole spoiler review if you haven't seen it yet? But
Some
we don't
people
judge.
like that.
Spoilers.
We don't judge. Anyway, let us know if you're excited about this or not. But while you're down there, click the link in the description box to go to our TeePublic site, where you can get some really cool horror merchandise, including our Coexist design or our horror show crew design, or any number of awesome things that are horror related. If you do so, you'll be supporting the show, and we greatly appreciate it.
We love you.
Exactly. Until next time,
We wanna
I'm
eat you.
Cecil Laird.
I'm Jaime Fuego.
Marsha Parker.
And remember, stay scared.
I gotta go.
The opinions
really,
of Fuego do
really
not
hungry right now.
represent the opinions of the horror show at large.
My nose is just...